In case of Bhagavad Gita, the beauty of this divine scripture is any of its shloka can be the beginning of a spiritual journey, and incidentally, any of its shloka can also mark the end of the journey. If we take this in mind, then the amount of contemplation that one would need to do grows manifold as a responsibility as a spiritual sadhaka to dive deep into the meaning of the shloka. And the whole purpose of interpreting the shloka, understanding the shloka with the help of light thrown by the most able commentator, our own Gurudeva, is all meant for knowing what is in it for me. In what way this will help me in my spiritual progress? In what way it will help me in my life to move to a destination which I have a very faint idea about. The word Brahman, the word Atma, Sakshatkar has almost become slippery now because it has been reused so many times. But there is not even the faintest idea as to why that has been stressed so much. Our life is going on the way it is going on. To what extent the reading of Gita has influenced the life, even we haven't sat and introspected. Maybe we might have given a cursory look as to, have I really changed? Has the reading helped me in changing my attitude or my karma or my work or my thought? Has it really led me to some point where I'm feeling more and more happier? Am I just trying to infatuate my mind with the fact that, I'm a regular attendee of a class called Gita? Or has it really affected me and affected my actions so that I am definitely a more relieved person now, more lighter person now, more peaceful person now? And am I really now finding myself progressing in some direction? So some shlokas come in the Bhagavad Gita where we need to really reflect on these points. This is one of that. The aphorism that comes out from the first line of 51st shloka is Karmajam hi phalam. If we just split it, Karmajam hi phalam tyaktva buddhi yukta manishinaha. Karmajam hi phalam. Born out of karma is phala. The very basic and a very simplistic understanding is every karma has phalam embedded into it. Every mango has a juice into it. How intricately those two words are associated with it. There is no mango if there is no juice. So there is no karma if there is no phalam. In other words, phalam is the non-manifested part of the karma, or phalam is nothing else but karma transformed into something else. Duratvena kalantarena karmam becoming phalam. Ajayji correctly pointed out this. If this is the case, then the simplistic understanding of our life is, what is life? Life is a process where karmams are done, phalams are produced. Now the question is, what is there in front of me? Am I having a phalam in front of me or am I having karmam in front of me? Somebody came and gave me $1,000 even though I did not deserve it. Is this my karmam or is this my phalam? I accepted those $1,000 even though they were not mine because I told my name to be a different name. I lied to get those $1,000. Is this phalam or karmam? So those karmams that have been done by me earlier are giving me phalams which I am enjoying, or I'm doing the bhaktruttvata of that phalam now. And while enjoying the phalams of the karmas that I have done earlier, as well as now. For example, I put my foot on a burning coal. The karma will give phalam immediately. There is no kalantarena, tatkal phalam. And then Bhishmacharya, perhaps trying to poke the lizard with the thorn of a bush, after many, many births suffering from the pangs of pain, again on the bed of arrows, is a dirgha kalantarena phalam. So simplistically looking, if we look at our life, right now I'm attending a satsanga where all good thoughts are prevailing. So the very fact that I am a part and constituent of this is the phalam of my ichha that I had done earlier, my karmam done earlier. At the same time, by listening to this, I'll be doing further karmas. That means the phalam that we get of the karmam also induces us to do further karmam. And that which we are habituated to, we will be doing that to which we are habituated. I am a person suffering from poverty because I robbed people of their wealth. So my tendency in my previous birth, when I did my karma, was basically to rob the people, which resulted into my poverty, for which I'm cursing everybody, including the God. But that poverty can teach me a lesson that this is a phalam of my previous bad karma, so I should not be doing bad karma. Or I can say that I have got a poverty now, so I must do something like stealing and again doing fraud so that my poverty is alleviated. So that is what has happened is the phalam of the past karma has induced me to do further bad karma. Now, how that kriyamana swatantra, the freedom of doing the action, paristhiti is the outcome of past life or past karma. Upasthiti is the outcome of the present will and the freedom. How do I enjoy the freedom will decide what karma I do now. Because I had prayed to God earnestly that I need a block of gold. So the Lord in this birth told me to go to the river and just go to the corner. There is a block of gold, just pick it up and come back. So my karma got fructified into having that gold block in my hand. So one karma and its phala is over. While picking the block of the gold, I said, had there been 10 more like this, what happened? Karma again got created. So phalam and the bhoktrutva of phalam has inherent danger of creating new karmas. And the very fact that I am embodied, I have got this shariram, the very reason for it is my karma. If there is no karma, why should I be coming here in the body form? Why should I be embodied? If that is the case, then what is the purpose of my body? To exhaust the karma phalams of my past karmas and not to create new karmas. That second corollary is very, 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 very important. If I have been hanged because of the murder that I have committed, it presupposes that I should not be murdering again. And that is where the key to the karma yoga lies. So you will keep getting bodies. How long? Till all the karmas are exhausted. Let it come. No problem. In this 80 years, I will exhaust some of the karmas. Whatever has been delivered from the warehouse called Sanchita, which has come into the showroom called Prarabdha, will be exhausted. Showroom will be closed. New showroom will be coming. Again, there will be a delivery coming from Sanchita warehouse. Let it come. And a day will come, the warehouse will be empty and closed. This is the aspect of Karma Yoga. Or instead of waiting for the warehouse of Sanchitam to exhaust completely and by taking again and again new showrooms called bodies, it is better that I abandon the ownership itself of my showroom. Jnana Yoga. Then what will happen? Sanchit will be there, but there is no taker. Why? Owner is gone, dead. Owner is no more there. Then the God warehouse closes the warehouse. Why? Unclaimed goods, not to be sold to anybody. The whole purpose is Gurudev has emphasized in Sankhya Yoga commentary of all the shlokas again and again a word called exhausting the vasana, exhausting vasana catharsis, vasana purgation, exhausting the vasana. Why Gurudev is stressing so much? Because remember, as a father, you have been troubled by the children. Why? You have troubled somebody, so there is a purgation of vasana. Then, if I would have had very nice children who listen to me, I wish at least in the next birth I get children who just say, Daddy, what do you want? What happened? You created new karma. It is rightly said that if you have got a wife like Xantippe, Socrates' wife is known as Xantippe, in other words, a very, very irritating woman or whatever. If you have got a wife like Xantippe, it is the phalam of the karma. But while exhausting that, if you constantly remember that I wish I could have had a better wife like that man or that man's wife, what is happening? You created new karma. So embodiment is for vasana catharsis, not vasana creation. And that is where the whole misunderstanding has happened. That is why the first part of 51st mantra itself is worth pondering for millions of hours. Karmajam hi phalam. But the one who understands this, he has shifted his thinking from mind to intellect. You can think from 2 points. You can think from mind point of view and you can think from intelligence point of view. Zone of intellect, Gurudeva's word. Zone of mind or zone of intellect. In zone of mind, the nature itself is of agitation. Zone of mind, the nature itself is of agitation. Then what will happen? Agitation will create agitation. What more it can create? The turbidity. Those who work at only mind level, and there are many who live complete life at mind level, it's like working at spinal level, leaving the brain around. Those who work at mind level then shall naturally be subjected to the vagaries of what? Agitation. And what are the vagaries? The slap of sorrow and a touch of happiness. And the proportion is always like this: a slap of sorrow and a touch of happiness. While the one who is in buddhi yukta, buddhi yoga, buddhi yukta, associated with yukta, yuja, he takes the decision from the intellectual zone and says that yes, the mind is doing this, but I shall not. Why? That is because speculative factor or the scanning facility is mind, deciding faculty, vyavasayatmaka buddhi, is buddhi, intelligence. Why intelligence has that higher power than the mind? It is because that is a chosen substance. By whom? By nothing else but Chaitanya to reside at Chidabhasa. So the glimpse of Chaitanya that comes into the intelligence and the glimpse of that Chidabhasa is enough to give us decisive power. So by decisive power, what you are trying to do is you're trying to connect everything around you directly to the intellect. What about the mind then? The mind always peeps in between, because mind is the connecting joint between the intellect and the senses. So what do you do to that? You just tell that rabid dog to keep quiet. If the mind keeps quiet and lets intellect directly deal with the senses, you are in buddhi yoga. Why? Buddhi got connected to everything in terms of experience through sense organs. So that becomes buddhi yukta. Such a person is called wise person, manishina. And see, the name given to that wise person is again manishina, man ishanaha. Ishaning is lordship. The one who has lorded over the mind is wise, because now the only intellect is working. So the embodied person doing a karma, because of the phalam that has come from the previous one, for that phalam, whatever karma has been happening in this particular birth is sheerly taken as an act of the previous vasanas. How a patient, although painful, keeps looking at the wound that has been dressed, knowing fully well that after this wound has healed, no more new wounds for me, is a wise person. And a patient who already has umpteen number of wounds on the body, it's still venturing to multiple further wounds on his body and remains wounded forever. He is a fool. He is not a manishinaha. And more the karmas, more the bodies. हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले. That's why if you are a intelligent trader in this world, vyavasayitmakaha buddhi, vyavasaya, intelligent trader in the world, exhaust the goods that you are supposed to sell and close the shop. जो तू साचा बानिया तो साची हाट लगा. माइला धसी गयो उड़न लागे टाटरी, तेरे टाटी में मिली गई माटी रे. परदेसी दुरा देसी. Kabir Maharaj says the same thing. That vasana is like that stone. Once the stone is hurled, it is bound to shatter the glass. Shattered the glass has to be repaired again. By the time it is repaired, another stone comes and gets hurled at another glass. Kachi che kaya thari jhutdi se maya re. Gorakshanath says same thing. पत्थर की तरह बदनाम हूं दुनिया में, शीशा कहीं भी टूटे नाम हमारा ही आता है. This is what the desire or the vasana is telling us. If this is the case, then for becoming Janma Bandha Vinirmukta, who will become Janma Bandha Vinirmukta when there is no karma left? To whom the karma will not be left? Who has exhausted his vasanas and who has not incurred new karmas. Movement as a part of past karma phalam, Yamuna Acharya, the great Acharya of the Vaishnavas. Yamunacharya, as a sage, a young sage, went for Vada Vivadam and defeated the Kallola, Vidvajjana Kallola, another arrogant supreme Pandit of those days in the Pandyan king's darbar as a Raja Pandit, and one half of the kingdom. So Yamunacharya became a king because of previous karma phalam. Now what happened? After becoming king, he got so engrossed into the kingly duties that he started creating further karmas. But his guru had told one of his close associate, another Shishyam, that I know this will happen to Yamuna, so go at a proper time and remind him of Swami Ranganatha so that he comes back where he was. This is the situation of a yogi. If this can happen to them, Matsyendranath went to Assam, Kamarupa, and became engrossed into the women and the queens and everything there. It was only left for the Gorakshanath to go and tell him, Udh Machindra Gorakhaya. Please be awake, Machindranath, my guru. You are entangled into the worldly things. Get out of it. That how bad the attraction of karmas is. And the attraction of karma is because of what? Because of the phalam. Why would I do the job if there is no salary on the first? Take away the first date of every month. Nobody will be interested in doing the work. Why? Phalam, the attraction of phalam. And precisely on a head down, Bhagavad Gita tells us, leave the first of the month, work for the 29 days. That is why undertake all work, maintaining in them the full evenness of mind, and thus abandon all anxieties for the fruits of their action. Gurudeva says, evenness of mind means asking the mind to keep quiet, let the intellect zone act. And if you don't do that, Gurudev has given the fallout in just 2 lines. By identifying with the agitation of the mind, the ego is born. The first calamity. The first calamity is identifying with the agitation of mind means what? Becoming one with the vritti means what? Listening to the mind. The biggest enemy of us is mind, which is inside us. And the biggest friend of us is intellect, which is inside us. And look at the beauty. The mind and intellect is nothing else but one and the same thing, acting functionally in different way. That which becomes mind becomes buddhi, becomes chitta, becomes ahankar. Moment the ego is born, they immediately, at the birth of itself, it gets married to a lady called desire. Ego is born and gets married right away with the desire. Moment the desire and ego come together, anxiety for actions result is an essential child that is born. All the 3 are born at the same time. The birth of ego, marriage of ego to desire, and immediately the birth of a son called desire. Immediately. Now the question is, ego, desire, and fruits of action. Looking for that. When it starts overwhelming us, it becomes a life complicated beyond description. And mind well. Referring to Sankaracharya, Gurudeva has given one very critical and important lesson here, which is actually a subject of speculations of Upanishads. But for a beginner in Karma Yoga, he should realize that all this so-called skill in action, karmasu kaushalyam, is basically to see that you extricate yourself from the entanglement of the phalam, ichha, phalam of karma. And for why you do that? It is basically to come out of a pond which is full of mud. To come out of that is karma yoga, but that itself doesn't mean purity. Then you have to get into the pond which is full of clean water. That is jnanam. So if you just come out of the pond of the mud of karma, that doesn't mean you are clean. That is why Gurudeva has used a word, peeping over. After doing this, you get the only result of karma yoga is chitta shuddhi. But from karma alone, you will not be getting the Atma Darshanam. Why? There's still what is pending is to take a bath in the pond of clean water. That is Jnanam. So karma and Jnana, there cannot be Samuchayam. There can be only Kramam. They are serially organized, one after the other, not together. That is called as Krama Samuchayavada. It is a big vada. In Ishavasya Upanishad, there is a detailed discussion by Shankaracharya on this. Gurudeva has given a slight hint to that. Then in the next shloka, Yadate Moha Kalilam. Moha Kalilam. Now, what has happened? Somebody who has understood the 51st shloka properly has started taking proper precautions about the karma, exhausting the vasanas, not inviting the new karmas. Once he has done that, as the chitta starts becoming shuddha, why? Each vasana is a dirt. All the dirts are one by one getting removed. Will they be removed in one birth? We don't know. Maybe a couple of births, but progress is on. One by one, the badly written pages are torn from the notebook. The notebook will be now left with only clean pages. It may take time. Tearing one page is one birth. It depends on how many sheets we have scribbled badly. That will decide that. But yadate, in that time, when, yada, when, the moha kalilam buddhirvyata atitarishyati, vi atitarishyati, visheshena atitarishyati. Not only you cross with intensity of effort, so that ati means that is the last, there is no further crossing over, and it is a matter of a very, very skillful action. Visheshena, it is not samanyam. Visheshena atitarishyati, using the buddhi, the turbidity, the mire, the thicket of illusion, moha. What that moha is? The maya. And the maya is, as Gurudeva has used a word for the maya, where he has said that maya is as such not perceptible except in its manifestation. What Gurudeva has pointed to is a very important concept about maya, which is called karya anumeyi. Maya is karya anumeyi, the one which is seen only by the effects. You cannot catch hold of it as a substance. You cannot say it is not there. Why? Effect is there. But if effect is there, then it must be existing. It doesn't. That is what is called sat asat vilakshana. Maya is sat asat vilakshana, and its power of veiling. Now the veiling, buddhi ka kaam hai. Very rightly Ajay pointed out that mind does vikshep work, while veiling is intellect problem. So it depends on which problem are you dealing with. Right now we are dealing with the problem of mind, vikshep itself. No, I want to work on my intelligence so that I can get over this avarana. Baba, it is time. Avarana getting over, Sadhguru will do that. It's a later stage. PhD cannot be done in the first standard. First is to control the mind. First is to work on the mind. And that is why this avarana shakti is very difficult to understand. Uska mukh ek jyot hai, ghungat hai sansar. Ghungat mein wo chup gaya, muh par aachar dhaar. Kabir Maharaj says. A Sufi has given a beautiful description of Maya. कह सके कौन के ये जलवागरी किसकी है, पर्दा छोड़ा है उसी ने के ना उठाए ना बने. Not easy. Avarana Shakti is the most difficult part of penetrating, but that is the last part. And who does that? After tremendous amount of exhaustion, the sadhaka of a very high order ultimately cries for the help of the mother. And in the form of the mother, Sadguru comes and holds the hand to atitarishyati, to permanently cross over. That is the reason why, abandoning the southernmost part of India, Gurudeva went to the northernmost part of India, to a person, embodied form of Almighty, Tapovan Maharaj, who knew that somebody competent has come, who has already worked on his mind, the Vikshepa, and now he is trying to forcefully penetrate through the avarana. He is a right shishya. So there is one Tapovana Maharaj, there is one Gurudeva. There are not 100 Tapovans and 1,000 Gurudevas. Not easy, sir. Durlabham, ati durlabham. That is why Gurudev says, Karma Yoga, once the intellect in us is purified through the art of steady work called devotion through work, it becomes possible to peep over, not a complete darshanam, jnanam. So Karma Yoga can make us reach there. And all this we are doing because even in our daily life, we are doing everything. Each passing joy in the sense world only sharpens the appetite for the infinite bliss. We are trying to search for the Sukham, while Bhagavad Gita tells us, you are Sukharupa. You are embodiment of Sukham, and you are searching the Sukha. The sense world here is beautifully indicated, Gurudeva says, as Shrutam and Shrotavyam. Shrutam and Shrotavyam. What happens to the person who gets realized? Because Shrutam means, so far we know the Sukham of this particular earth, so many small objects, small relations, and we think this is our world. The world is too big for us to follow. There are so many seen and unseen known and unknown things. Tomorrow, if I see Swargam, we have not seen Swargam, but if I see, I'll fall for it. Why? That experience, I don't know. Now there'll be a longing for that. But once the person becomes Vinirmuktam, then even after that, suppose he comes across Swargam, he will say, I don't want it. That is why in Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayana, Madhusudan Saraswati says, even this mukti I don't want. Who wants mukti? Who wants this so-called Saiju mukti? Krishna, I want to be with you, and that is all. Don't give me anything. This all world, this Nachiketa is saying the same thing. That is why Tada Gantasi Nirvedam Srota Vinirvedam. Nirvedam. Vid is to know. Nirveda. Not knowing. Knowing, where does the knowing end? The knowing ends when the knower ends. Na rahega bas, na rahegi basuri. Knowing with. That is why, what is there to know in this world? Veda. Why do you need to know the Veda? So that you becomes Nirveda. Right now, how are we? Aveda. We don't know. So you need to know. What is there to know in this world is Veda. And what happens if you know the Veda? You becomes Nirveda. That means Nirvedam, which is called as indifference, Virakti, all these words are pointing to a state where there is no knower, there is no knowledge, there is no known. So there is nothing left to be known. And why there is nothing left to be known? Because I am the everyone. I am everything that is around me. What is there to know me myself? Why? Because I think I am this body. Now, do I try to probe who am I in this? Where is Dr. Jadhav? No, because I know. That means I am Dr. Jadhav. Similarly, I am everything, Vibhur Vyapya. Every single thing is me. There is nothing left to know. Why? To know, there should be two things, the knower and what is to be known. But because the knower himself is existing all alone, ekameva advitiya, tad gantasi nirvedam. And that is called as Padam also. Padam, Vishnu Padam, Vaikuntham. The place of residence where the resident is only one. And resident himself is the residence. The residence is resident. There is no differentiation of any kind. That is why Mohakalilam, illusion, the turbidity of the illusion, the mire of the illusion, the thicket of the illusion, the one who works from intellect point of view, and that is why Gurudeva, irrespective of whether he was staying with XYZ, Birla or this or that or Uttarkashi or this or Bhagavad Gita or Pravachina or whatever, nothing happened to him. Why? Nirvedam. Already reached at the peak of the mountain. Now nothing can dislodge him. Kutastham arohanat. Na bhavati skhalanam. No way, no chance of coming down, sir. It is a permanent abode that he had reached. The extreme good fortune of all of us is to see God in that 6 feet or 5 feet, 10-inch murti. That is our good deed. And if the good deeds are done by us, the sheer reason of which is that we are studying today, then it becomes our mandatory duty to take it forward by understanding the depth of the shlokas. That is what these two shlokas are trying to tell us. Hari Om.